Hi, my name is Gary Hayes. I'm the founder of thinkSMALL Global Ministries and also a reverend. And I'm speaking to you in particular in the Philippines because you are leaders of churches and are interested in learning more about how to grow your church, make it younger, more vibrant, and secure it for the future. And thinkSMALL Ministries is designed for that particular purpose. So in this presentation, I'm going to walk you through a few key points of thinkSMALL and hope that you can catch a vision as to what potentially this ministry might do to help you achieve your goals. thinkSMALL's mission statement is producing new young followers of Jesus to transform nations. And when we talk about this, we're really referring to children primarily. The goal for all of us is to see the Philippines transformed in Christ. New meaning evangelism, young meaning children and youth, but primarily children, and followers of Jesus. Not just young people who receive Christ, but really have learned how to follow him and to give their lives to him and to duplicate these lives, even the children that come after them. thinkSMALL started in Thailand in 2007, and within a few years began to multiply in other nations, in Myanmar, and into communist Laos, into India, Bangladesh, Bhutan, and then eventually throughout Africa, and even over into the West, United States, Mexico, Peru, and other countries. In 2022, we started a team in the Philippines, in Danao City. Right now, thinkSMALL is in 21 nations. We partner with churches. We believe that churches are the key to seeing nations transformed. 3,359 local churches are currently partnering with thinkSMALL as we work together to help them grow. Over 1 million people have received Christ. In fact, 1,500,043 people have received Christ through thinkSMALL. This is a youth, adults, and children. 71% of those people have actually entered into discipleship. And we have reached 93 unreached people groups in various countries. There are common trends that are happening in local churches around the world. Now, this does not mean that these trends are happening in every one of the churches that you may oversee, but they are common in every country at different degrees, and they hold a threat to the future of the local church. One of them is that congregations are getting older. The average age in congregations around the world is actually increasing. Congregations are getting smaller. Less people are attending church today than in the last few years. Now, again, this may not be true in every one of your churches. And in fact, it likely isn't. However, around the entire country of the Philippines and beyond, there is a church attendance challenge. Young people are increasingly leaving church. There are statistics that show that by age 15 or 16, an enormous number of young people are slipping away from church, even if they've been in church for many years. And less youth are interested in becoming pastors. Pastors are aging today and looking forward to perhaps retiring. And there is a difficulty in finding enough young people called into ministry. And if any of these things are happening in your church, any one of these four, then the future of your church can be at risk unless you change a strategy and to learn how to turn it around. And that's the question. How will we turn this around? We believe in a two-generation approach, youth plus kids. Youth meaning children that might be 14 to 20 years old, and kids meaning those who are under the age of 14. There is a gap between those two generations too often in churches today. And we believe that if you are to combine those two generations and fill that gap, you will not only have more young people stay in church, but you are going to increase the number of future leaders in your churches. Church youth are ready right now. They're the visionaries in your church. They're the ones who look into the future, and they really can embrace it and get excited about being a part of changing the world. They're the ones who can see a new world and believe in it. They're hungry for leadership. They're hungry to serve, and they're ready to leave right now. The question is, are you giving them a ministry that is life-changing and can get them into the community that they can also take leadership in? Kids, the second generation, the world's largest untapped harvest field. Social behavior scientists and neurologists around the world have studied the human mind and the way that the brain operates and develops over time. And what they've come to a conclusion is, by age 6, the moral values of children around the world are basically set into place. What is right and wrong is essentially not going to change in the vast majority of people after age 6. And by age 13 or 14, whatever belief system you hold or religion you hold is likely never going to change. In fact, about an 85% chance it won't change. Reason being that when you are young, you are searching for something to believe in that will guide your life and help you determine the right decisions you will make in your life. And by the time you're 13 or 14 years old, your brain has pretty much captured whatever that belief system is. And when that happens, it's almost as if wet cement hardens, and you begin to surround yourself with friends and affiliates of people that believe very similarly than you do. And the more that you develop those relationships, the harder that cement gets, and the more difficult it is to change. One of the reasons adults have a hard time coming to Christ and making a dramatic change in their lives is they've invested years and years into those relationships. And when they receive the gospel from you, they are challenged to give up perhaps some of those relationships and to change their life. Now, if they've gone under a crisis situation, and perhaps there's been a death in the family or a divorce or something that shakes their world to where they have to reevaluate their world, that's a good time to reach an adult for Christ. But those times don't happen every day, do they? For adults, it's often about timing as far as them receiving Christ. But for kids, it is always the right time because they're hungry. They're looking for what to believe in. The enemy, Satan, has been fishing on that side of the boat. He's been fishing in that pond and capturing too much of our young population. It's time for the church to fish in the same place and to recapture them back into the kingdom of God. In the Philippines, in 1950, there were 18.8 million children under the age of 14 years old. And in 2025, it's now 117 million. Now, we know, based upon our studies of human development, that the sweet spot for children to actually receive a belief system is between the age of 4 to 14. And that is why we focus on that age range. It's the hungriest segment of the human population when it comes to looking for what to believe in and what religion to follow. The population of 4 to 14 in the Philippines in 1950 were 5 million. 5 million kids in that age bracket. But in 2025, today, it's up to 23 million kids. And most of them don't know Christ, do not have a personal relationship with Jesus. Kids age 4 to 14 are 20% of the population, 23 million. It's your greatest opportunity to grow and secure your church. The doorway to reaching children, how are we going to do it? How are we going to get into the communities to where the community welcomes the local church, to especially in regards to reaching kids? Child protection. Child protection is the doorway that we believe is the most sensible way that every church can learn to enter into. Now, we're not talking about orphanages or anything after the fact when children are victimized. We're talking about prevention. You see, in every nation, God's children are under attack. And that means that right here in the Philippines or anywhere, that the future of the church and the future of our faith is under attack. And here's some ways that children are being attacked today. In the Philippines, 20% of Filipino children live in poverty. There are 246,000 street children in the Philippines. Vulnerable children who are just lost, looking for what to believe in, looking for a way. 66% of Filipino children experienced physical violence when they were kids, and more than half of them happened in the home, not on the street, but in the home. Labor, trafficking, 60,000 to 100,000 children are trafficked each year in the Philippines, including even things such as gold panning, X-rated trafficking. One of the biggest challenges in the world is the sex trade on behalf of children, and not just girls, but boys as well. Cyber trafficking. The Philippines are a hub for cyber trafficking toward Filipino children and also internationally. And this includes blackmailing young boys in Western countries in a particular sin called sextortion. And this happens from Filipinos who have been trapped into trafficking and put to work into the cyber trafficking world. Nearly 500,000 children were sexually exploited in online live stream in the Philippines last year. Children are absolutely vulnerable and being attacked in this country. In terms of abuse, only 10% of abuse gets reported. 90% happens in the home and is not reported. Children are victimized in both Christian and non-Christian homes. But what can we do about it? And this is why thinkSMALL exists, to both stop the abuse and exploitation of children and lead them to Christ. thinkSMALL, producing new young followers of Jesus to transform nations and to grow your church and to secure the future of our faith. thinkSMALL trains and empowers church youth teams to train local children on resisting drugs, trafficking, and internet exploitation and abuse. Training children how to resist these things before it happens to them, before they become victimized. And then leading them to Christ. Not the thinkSMALL team, but the church youth team. The youth teams that are in your churches, that are hungry to be mobilized. And when they bring them to Christ, helping them actually come into church and into long-term discipleship. We use a 5-step process to make this happen. And by the way, as you can see on the screen, it's interdenominational evangelism. we do not believe that any denomination is strong enough and big enough to actually achieve the Great Commission by ourselves. We need each other. Jesus prayed, let them be as one, before he was lifted into heaven. And we believe it's time now for churches to work together, despite the denominational differences, and come together. As long as we believe in John 3:16 together, we can unify for the benefit of the faith. The first step that we do in Think Small is we train a local team of Christian believers. And when I say local, not people like myself from America, but local Filipinos who are trained then how to partner with the local church and how to train the local church and mobilize youth teams in the local church. Once we train that team and teach them how to do this ministry, they go forward. Now, we have a lot of teams that are around the country, and we have regional leaders who oversee national leaders, who oversee team leaders. And you can see these are 3 of our national leaders in Africa and South Asia and Southeast Asia. And ourselves, my wife and myself, even in the Western world. Paula and I were missionaries to Thailand for 15 years, and that is where we started this ministry. There are now 40 church training teams. In Danao City, in the Philippines, we have a team that started 2 years ago. And this team is primarily young people between 18 to 24 years old. And this team is growing rapidly. And because of the experience they have in doing this ministry, many of them now are called into leadership to be future pastors. Now, once that team is trained up, they go into the local church and they begin to do child protection workshops for the pastors, the leaders, the staff, and all the adults in the church, holding workshops that will help the church become safe. We do not want to bring children into a church unless we know for sure it is a safe church to be. And so these workshops have become very, very popular. They're scripturally based and practically applied, and we're doing them now in 21 countries. And we are the only ministry in the world doing these particular workshops. I'm going to show you a video that'll give you a little bit of a hint as to what these workshops really look like.
เป็นพระคุณของพระเจ้าที่ดิฉันได้มีโอกาสเข้าร่วมอบรมการอบรมครั้งนี้
เป็นโครงการที่ดีมากเลยนะคะทำให้เรารู้ถึงพรบคุ้มครองเด็กในหลายด้านนะคะไม่ว่าจะเป็นพ่อแม่ละเลยลูกนะคะแล้วก็เด็กนะคะถูกล่วงละเมิดทางเพศนะคะหรือว่าอื่นๆหลายอย่างนะคะ
อบรมสำหรับวันนี้นะคะได้ความรู้ใหม่เกี่ยวกับการคัดสรรหรือการสัมภาษณ์เจ้าหน้าที่ที่จะมาทำในเรื่องของเด็กในคริสตจักรของเราซึ่งก็ตรงกับงานที่กำลังทำอยู่ในคริสตจักร
Now, the third workshop that you noticed is called a Child Protection Policy Workshop. Churches in the Philippines and around the world, very few of them actually have a child protection policy that is a written set of rules that teach people who work with kids how to effectively work with them so the children are safe. Some of you already know that there has been abuse occasionally in Filipino churches. And when that happens, a church can actually crumble. Although a pastor may know nothing about any abuse, one issue of an abuse can spoil the reputation of the church and can create such a disaster within the church that people begin to leave and distrust the church. So therefore, we believe that every church should have a child protection policy and also have a person responsible to ensure that policy is followed. And the workshop that we offer will teach in one day how to actually create a policy, and within 24 hours, your church will have a policy written and customized, and you would have somebody in your church responsible to ensure that children are safe and that everyone follows that policy so that no abuse will ever happen in your church. The second thing that happens when our team goes to a local church is they're going to meet with the local church youth team. Now, we really just using to begin to bring into leadership for your future church. Now, once they meet that youth team, they're going to go together and they're going to go into the community. Now, that could be in schools, it could be in a park, it could be on the beach, it could be in any location, including the church, and begin to teach kids how to recognize the signs of abuse or trafficking or internet exploitation or drugs before they become a victim. And every church can learn how to do this. Every church team can learn how to do this with ours. You do not have to be an expert in child protection to do this. But this is something that communities are not receiving. And you could offer something that is new and unique and that the parents and the adults will want in their environment. So kids are empowered on how to be safe. But also during the time when they learn how to be safe, they're going to learn who is going to keep them safe for eternity. And that is when they receive the gospel during the outreaches. And the church youth team can help share that gospel with these children. Some of these types of outreaches include drug prevention. These are some pictures of the Danao City team actually doing the drug prevention program. These are youth in Thailand, actually, from a local church, teaching young kids how to say no to drugs. And kids, when they are at the outreach, they stand up and they chant, "I am wise, I am strong, I am free, I say no to drugs." Peer pressure is the number one reason kids get involved in drugs and in a lot of these issues, alcohol. It's because kids tempt each other to use them in order to be accepted by the group. But if you start to reverse that and you teach kids to stand up together and say, "We say no to drugs," it's a different type of peer pressure. It is a positive peer pressure. And if you want to be in our group, you say no to drugs. And alcohol, we have a say no to alcohol workshop as well to help kids say no to alcohol, because alcohol use is now getting younger and younger in your communities. Resisting trafficking outreaches. All of these outreaches are interactive, they're PowerPoint driven, they have games, They have a lot of different amazing events for kids within a 1 hour outreach. Saying no or resisting abuse, understanding the signs of abuse, and teaching kids that if their friend tells them somebody has done something wrong in their house, maybe the father has touched the girl in the wrong way, or somebody has physically abusing children, then your friend, if he tells you that, your responsibility is to take your friend to an adult you both trust and tell that person. And then that person knows who to call. Now, we recommend the child protection officer from the church. And we'll teach kids this. Back to Denau City, kids are learning right here in these pictures are learning how to identify where the bad places are to touch that I do not allow you to touch me, or even the places that are safe. So children now are learning where is safe touch and where is bad touch. And you can see kids in Denau are excited, they're cheering, they're chanting. Internet safety outreaches, we're teaching kids how to be safe on the internet and how not to get groomed and taken into a very risky situation. One of the great leaders of a global denomination, Dr. Glenn Burris, says our advocacy for and rescue of children may be one of the most important evangelism efforts the church will do in the 21st century. And we're finding that presidents of many denominations are saying the same thing. This is just a picture of a school recognition from the Denau team that a school had given them, thanking them for the teaching that they were able to do for children in their school. Christmas outreaches, Easter outreaches. We have a lot of different things for kids. And I'll tell you something about this amazing little team in Denau City. This is only about 10 people. And most of our thinkSMALL teams are as small as 5 or 3. But this team came together and is focused on reaching out to church partners. And they've trained 60 churches in the Denau area. And they've seen more than 7,000 people come to Christ, children, youth, and adults. Some adults, many adults came to Christ during the workshops. And you can see beautiful pictures of children giving their heart to Jesus for the first time. And then it's time to bring them into church. So this is a little testimony I want you to hear from a pastor couple who have experienced thinkSMALL in Denau.
Hi everyone, I'm Pastor Romy,
I'm Pastor Ramini.
a senior pastor of Church of Praise History Makers inside Denau City, Cebu. We are thankful enough for the thinkSMALL team who came to our church and to our ministry outreaches to conduct a child protection seminar and child empowerment against abuse, drugs, and trafficking. The seminar for adults brings a huge impact to us. It reminds us how valuable the children are. They are God's gift to us. It also brings awareness to our parents, being careful and exercising discipline that will not end up to abuse, and aware to watch our kids carefully. So, not to be a victims of a child abuse in anywhere.
Also, the child empowerment to our children available for the preventive campaign against abuse and trafficking brought us significant impact to the children's life on how to protect themselves and what to do when they are or their friends in that situation.
Thank you so much. thinkSMALL team. God bless you all. Hi everyone.
Okay. So on the next step, on step 4, of course, once children come to Christ, we have to get them into discipleship. So following up with children is so important. And so we have a system called thinkSMALL Cinema, where children are actually brought into a 5-week event, a series of movies that are gospel-oriented movies, biblical movies. They learn all about Bible heroes. There's games, there's prizes, lots of fun things that happened within 2 or 3 days of kids receiving Christ. We get them into discipleship very quickly, and we move the whole group together. We give them free tickets. They get snacks and fun when they come to these events. And who runs it? Well, it's a partnership between the Think Small team, but the youth. The youth team are the ones that actually take over the ministry right here. And the youth team in the church start to experience real leadership, teaching and evangelizing and discipling kids. This is a video that walks you through the entire process of what a Think Small cinema looks like. This was done in Thailand, this little video, but I think you can catch the excitement of what kids who receive Christ and then start to attend the cinema shows can really experience together. And this can happen right here in the Philippines as well. We use Superbook as our video. You can see this is a big event beyond just the book. Kids are so excited. They listen, they watch the movie, they learn about David and Goliath, the Bible heroes. They answer questions, they win prizes. It's the beginning of discipleship. Then after the first week of this great event, they get for next week. Next week after week, and the youth team is the ones who take over the ministry. They lead the youth ministry. In Danao City, 86% of those people who came to Christ entered into discipleship because we have it so easy a way to get them into discipleship right away. We also have 2 years of discipleship curriculum in written manuals and books with lessons and lessons and lessons for kids. And if you already have a very good discipleship program, of course, you don't need that. But if you want to take a look at this, we have this available for you without any problem at all to help your discipleship for children get even stronger. And you can see we have also Sunday school training available for Sunday school teachers to help them become better at understanding the psychology of kids, as well as some very excellent tips on how to train them and teach them in church better. And you can see different written curriculum that we have to help kids. And these are all written for the Sunday school teachers, not for the children. And it teaches the teachers how to use these lessons and object lessons and different lessons very appropriately for children. So to recap, to grow your church, get younger, grow new leaders, and secure its future, we believe empowering children, empowering youth into leadership is key. Mobilizing the youth to reach children is also key, and that has to do with that two-generation strategy. And bring new children to Christ and into church long-term discipleship, something that will cement them into the faith forever. The next steps are, if you are interested in having Think Small come to your church, when we have a team available in your area, then please let us know your interest, because they will come and help your church. But if you are also interested in developing a team that could go to churches in your area, what we do is we take a look at people that could be candidates to become members of that church training team. And then we talk to them in step number 2. And then we present the ministry to them. And if they feel God calling them to this, we take them through a 30-hour Zoom course for free. We don't charge for it, but they just need to be committed to go to the course a couple hours a week for a while to help them become very, very good at understanding children and how to do this ministry. And then we take our local leaders here in the Philippines and we partner with that new team. And we work together and get them successful. And then in step number 5, an ongoing partnership mentoring process that never stops. And we become a collective family that multiplies together and continues to reach kids for Christ and grow the local church. If you're wondering what is needed from a team, if you were to want a team in your area, a team, all they need is a computer. They need a projector, or at least access to one, so they could show video and PowerPoint to the kids and to do workshops. They need a portable sound system. Just something that they can use to have a speaker and a microphone. And internet, of course, because we communicate back and forth together on internet, on Zoom, and on emails. And they need some small expenses. Maybe if they're going to travel to a church and they need some petrol, or if they're going to want some snacks for themselves or for kids. It's a very inexpensive ministry. It's very portable, and it is a ministry that is working in every type of country, no matter how rich the country is or how poor the country is. Think Small really focuses on transforming tomorrow's church for today. And if you feel that this ministry is something that could be a benefit to you, then please let us know. God bless you.